Welcome to Redefining Normal. Join us as we question conventional thinking and talk about the courage it takes to create and live a deliciously vibrant life.
This podcast is for people who know there's a better way to do life and love how we show up in connection to others, our kids, our partners, our business, and beyond that, our relationship with money, vitality, and more than anything, ourselves.
We're two shamelessly unapologetic moms choosing to experience the fullness of life.
And we're collapsing the conditioning that says you can't live a life of pleasure, peace, and abundance in the midst of the mundane of life responsibilities, work, and kids.
Thank you for listening in. Let's do this. Today on Redefining Normal, we are talking about the space in between. So we've been talking about on the show and in my online stuff and in wealth calibration, we've been talking about ultimately quantum leaping, or how do we step into the next version of what we're calling in and what we want in our lives. And when we do this, there is this space I can sometimes call the messy middle, or the space in between, or the liminal space, or this place of uncertainty. And so today we are going to talk a little bit about what that's like, what it feels like, and more about that.
Yes. So Carrie, I know that you just recently took a trip, and audience, I'm here just like getting caught up for the first time as well. So we thought we'd record it. So what was this trip to Texas? Because, I'm moving and we're doing our things. And I get a message from Carrie. Oh, by the way, I'm hopping on a plane tomorrow to go to Texas to this thing. So I still don't even know entirely what it was. But what was Texas, Carrie? This like impromptu trip to Texas.
It's a very impromptu trip to Texas. So funny. It's literally what happened, you guys.
Yeah. Like on Tuesday, it was like, oh, I can't record on Wednesday because I'm going to be on a plane.
I literally, you guys, like to the point where my kids came home from their dads and I'm like walking through the supermarket and I had only just booked the tickets, right? So they come home on like the Friday and I just booked the tickets and I'm like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Cause next week I will be in. And I'm like, oh, you guys, my little one, Sam, he had a complete meltdown because I just totally slipped it, which meant them having, when I booked the ticket, they had to go back to their dads for a few days and they were really pissed off. And I just like slid this out and I was like, oh, fuck, I really did not land that in the middle of a grocery store very well.
Whoops.
That parenting moment. Didn't think about that. But that's how literally quick this happened of like, I'm going to go to Texas for something. And so why I was in Dallas is because a few months ago, I had a friend from Australia invite me into a business opportunity. And I've been looking really deeply into this opportunity for the last few months and had a lot of questions around it. And ultimately what it is an opportunity to run events in Denver, and they would be monthly events, and they are underneath someone else's banner. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted to know is, do I even like this banner? Do I like these people? Do I like this community? Yeah. Because I am not like, this is an integrity piece, right? I'm not gonna be able to sell or be a part of a community that I don't like, just for the sake of it being an opportunity and a business opportunity and a really cool way to expand and grow. And so they had an event in Dallas. And so ultimately what they're doing is, this company is bringing on ambassadors to grow their personal development branch. It's a man who has run a jewelry company for many years and then has gone in and scaled and developed in real estate, but scaled multiple 7, 8, 9-figure companies. Sure. Hundreds of them. Yeah. Right. And so what he started to do is, how do I actually teach other people to do this? And how do I help other people do this? Yeah. And so one of his reasons for doing this is that the more ambassadors he brings in to do these events, he can help them scale to 7-figure businesses. Right. Sure. And then underneath his banner and everybody, it's a win for everybody. It feels, if done well and done right, it feels very abundant and amazing. And the people that he's got in his community are phenomenal.
Right. So I imagine going to this event, so put you in a different room.
Right. So when I went to this event, and so this man also, his name is Craig Shaw. You guys can go look him up. Regardless of what happens with me doing this, like, he's definitely worth checking out. He's a really amazing human, really fucking beautiful human with a really beautiful community. Yeah. And so for me, I really wanted to go and see the community before I said yes to any of this. Because I was like, I don't know, this all sounds like a really great thing. waved in front of me. I wanted to get more.
We've all been in situations where it looks great.
It really looks great on paper.
Yeah.
And financially it looks great. It looks like a great business opportunity. There's so much in this that could be really amazing for me.
Sure.
And I've been wanting to speak more, right? So like all of the things are like ticking boxes. It gets me yes into alignment. And so I went to this event and it was a pre-launch for the Dallas chapter, one of the Dallas chapters. There's a few opening right now. And so if you're in Dallas and you're hearing this, feel free to reach out and I can get you information if you want to go and check out these amazing events. Actually anywhere in the world, like they're opening all over, Dallas, Vegas, blah, 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 all over, New York. And so this one though, being the pre-launch, it was for the ambassadors who are running this are high net worth individuals. One of the men I hung out with, so I was there Tuesday, Wednesday night and left Thursday. On Tuesday night, Craig and this other man, his name is Abe, came over and we spent, I must say 5 hours, like they had a bottle and a half of vodka. I'm not much of a drinker. So like I had like me and my girlfriend are like, I think between the two of us had like maybe 2 or 3 glasses over to that. Right. The 3 of them are like, oh my God, it's hilarious. It's been a while since I've been with people who've had that much to drink, but it was funny. But it was a really heartfelt, open conversation and really beautiful. And this man, Abe, has a portfolio of 40 million in hotel and gas stations. So what I started to find that was so fascinating in this event was really hearing about the ways that so many people make money. And it is actually so fucking easy to make a shit ton of money. Right? This is what I kept hearing over and over again. All of them came from, I will say it, not all, many of them, most of them came from nothing and financially. Yeah. And like it grew until these empires, like Craig came from India, the streets of India, basically. Right. And has grown all the way to these places. And so part of it was really fascinating and just getting to experience the expansion and feeling into how easy it can be to make money when you know how to, or when you just have the belief that money just comes to you easily all the time, overnight, day in, day out. Yeah. Consistently, abundantly. Right. And it's funny because I have that feeling. So like ultimately being in this place was really fascinating because what we're talking about is like this in between. Right. Yeah. But being in this place was really fascinating for me because you guys, my family, like that's not like, this is what I grew up in. Yeah. And yet your nervous system was still. And yet my nervous system went into a fucking complete and utter like, what the fuck is going on? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? It wasn't that night, because that night was sweet, like hanging out with a bunch of friends, right? Sure. It was the next day. Yeah. It was the next day when I went into this room for this event, and I would say there was probably in the room at least $12 billion under management. And it was a sea of men. Yeah. Which I have not been into a room that was such a sea, like probably 70 men just, and then a few women sprinkled throughout. And as a white woman, as a white human, I was the minority, which is unusual in my very Denver white centric space that I'm in. Sure, right. Sure. Yeah. Not a bad thing. It was a really good thing. I loved it. It was amazing. Yeah. It was just very like my whole system was like, whoa, this is a very different view that I'm used to seeing. Yeah. Yeah. So even that in and of itself, but to be in a room, what I started to realize it was to be in a room with so much financial resource of people who want to give back. Right? Like truly people who like they're building, like Craig's whole purpose for all of this is to build and give it all away in his lifetime. He's like, I want to be a billionaire and give it away in my lifetime. Yeah. Right. And like when you have heart like that, like it's a room of heart, but it's also a room of a fuck ton of money that can be a lot done with. Right. Yeah. And to just stand in the space and go like, wow, what an amazing room of people. And like, I've been in this room many times before, but what I started to realize it was I've been in this room because I've been someone's family member. Yeah. I was part of this because this is just who I am. That day it was like, Carrie, you're here because of you.
Yeah.
Because of your energy, because of your drive, because of your ambition, because of what you're here to do and create in the world.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with anything else in my life or anyone else.
Yeah.
And right, the deserving of, I deserve to be in this room. And when we went around and introduced people, they actually did. They actually introduced, everybody got to introduce themselves, which is crazy, in this big room. And I was like, Jamie, I usually am the visionary. I'm a manifestor in my manifestor power, and I'm usually quite the visionary in a room.
Yeah.
I usually have quite the like, wow, that's amazing, Carrie. I sat in that room and I was like, I just want to bury myself in a corner and be like, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
How do I hide? Yeah. This is such a huge thing, to recognize what's happening in your nervous system, because your mind all day long could be like, I belong here. This is amazing, right? All that stuff. But like, what's happening in your nervous system, in your body, that's the barrier between where you are and where you want to be.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I stood in that room and like, I did speak. I didn't hide.
Yeah.
I did actually introduce myself.
Yeah.
I did actually have people like, ooh, I was playing with the different ways of introducing myself, which was fun. So I actually had a lot of people interested in talking to me around, like when I introduced myself, to helping them with more pleasure. Because a lot of, and this is the other thing that I felt in the room, right? There's all this money, but it's just so fucking blocked.
Disembodied. Right? Yeah.
It's disembodied.
Yeah.
And so that's why the room was so intense, because I had all this money that was like everywhere, and this energy that was all up in their heads, but nothing in their bodies.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, pleasure. They're like, what? I just have to work. I'm like, I know. This is the problem with the world. Right.
Yeah.
And it really embodied me more into, fuck, this work is so gosh darn needed in this world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know without a shadow of a doubt, this is why I'm here. Part of the reason I'm here is to help these people who are running so much fucking money in this world.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have this currency that is money, that is energy. I get to finally say this. Thank you. That is energy. And that if we shift the way that people touch this energy, right? Because this is what is moving through our world. It's currency.
Yeah.
Money, finances, right?
Yeah.
But it moves every day, all day long. All around the world, right?
Yep. Lots of it. Yeah.
And so if the people who are sitting on top of it, who are moving the most money, because that's what they are doing.
Yeah.
And they're holding the most money.
Yeah.
If they are dead inside, if they are shut off, cut down, cut off,
disconnected. Disconnected,
then that is what we are putting into the world. We are putting fear, we are putting lack, because even these people were like, how do I stop working to give myself the time for pleasure? And I'm like, if you are making as much fucking money as you are making, you do not need to be working anymore. And if this is what your life is
works for you,
right? If this is what you are choosing right now, then you are not actually choosing a life of pleasure. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Just
like,
making
why are you doing all of this?
Yeah.
Just make more
die.
money.
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was really a fascinating energy to like really, and then just to own into, Carrie, I know this is what it's here for, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I know that this is from the top, like when we really start to shift this from the top down.
Yep.
And I don't mean top on a hierarchical of humanity level.
Yeah.
I mean top of who's holding the most money.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And it's a literal physical thing. Like, do you have a fuck ton of money?
Yeah. Are you managing millions of dollars? Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And
it's interesting to hear that, because I think that that's a fear that blocks a lot of people from making money at each level, is like, how do I not lose it? And so we're still focusing on what we're afraid of versus what we're trying to create, but like, it's interesting to hear that fear of like, will I always have enough? Like I need to continue to accumulate so that I have enough, so that I can't lose it, versus that it actually leading to liberation, and just recognizing that's a mental game. That is an inner work that has to be done, no matter if you're managing 100,000 or 100 million, like
it is. And that the money is never going to be the thing that satisfies you, which is what I've talked about. Like it ends with me. Yes. The entire book is about this principle, is that money is not going to be what satisfies you.
Yeah.
Ever,
yeah.
Right? So these people are still not satisfied.
Yeah.
And there's still fear.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I always say this, it doesn't matter how much fucking money you have. There is still always, if you don't address the issues of your own fear around it, it will carry with you for all of your experience of money.
Right. It doesn't matter what level you're playing at. The core is still there. The player is still, the same. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's fascinating. That is fascinating.
Yep.
And so
what's also interesting around it, like I also heard a lot in this room, was that, like a lot of people who are afraid of taking risk and making money, generally speaking, I don't know somebody who's made it to hundreds of millions or billions of dollars without fucking damn close to losing it all at least once.
Yes.
If not losing it all at least once.
Yes.
Right. Is that they know that even though they might be afraid of losing it again because they don't want to, because they know what it fucking feels like to do, they also are willing to go at life and take the risks.
Yeah.
Because they know that if something happens, they can do it again.
100%. I mean, like, think about this in all areas, like any sort of discomfort and challenge or struggle teaches us something. And so you have to navigate the things you're most afraid of in order to overcome them. Right. So like, if you're afraid of something and you never actually get to integrate the lesson of that, that's always going to be a block in your system.
Right.
And so those people that have lost everything or come damn near close to losing everything have the wisdom in their bodies of that experience, right? And so many people are not willing to lose it all. They play so safe that they will never.
It's the same thing in love too, right?
100%.
I mean, the same thing. Like you've said it every summit. You say it to me, Carrie. You're like, you're so willing to open your heart. I'm like, because. Yeah. I mean, like we're going through it now.
What else are we going to do? Right.
I'm going to lose. I probably will have my heart broken at some point, but at least I was willing to risk loving.
Yeah. And think about even in me and Kyle's marriage, I have had my heart broken. Right. He's had his heart broken. Like the outcome, the together or not together, loving, fully open also means hurting, but we have a choice whether or not we learn and grow from it or we suffer through it.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Like struggle is necessary, but like suffering is a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to learn and evolve and become something different, or am I going to collapse, into it? And so yeah.
So on that note, like coming back to this up-level piece, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting in this room because this discomfort, this is exactly where I got to, right?
Right.
I'm sitting in this room and I'm like in total, and if anyone understands like a highly sensitive human, I am a highly sensitive human.
Yeah.
I feel everything.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse all at the same time. So what I have learned is sometimes my nervous system gets so freaking jacked that I just have to walk away and breathe. Otherwise I will like lose my everything. Right. Yeah. So I got to the place in this party where I was like, oh my God, my nervous system is so overwhelmed. And it wasn't because of anything bad. It was actually because of all this amazingness, right? And I want to say this here because there was nothing bad happening. And our nervous system this is exactly what happens when we're up leveling, when we're going into new places. My nervous system's like, what the fuck do I do here?
I do not know what this is. Yeah. And the nervous system always avoids
what do I do here? Yeah. And so I walked outside, we get dinner and I walk outside with my friend and we're both like, we both highly sensitive humans, both went, yeah. And just took a moment to just breathe. She walked away at some point, and as she walked away, the tears just started flowing.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm sitting outside and there's a whole room of people behind me that I'm supposed to be professional and I'm not supposed to be a fucking emotional woman. And I'm not supposed to be crying right now. And I'm not supposed to be overwhelmed because here I am telling them about pleasure and joy.
That's all like conditioning story, right?
Story, right? This is right? This is why I'm saying this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but in the moment I was like, if you don't do this, you're not going to be okay.
The reality of what's happening.
Right? Like your body needs to do this and it's okay. And so I let myself, and there was a part of me that wanted to go deeper. I even sent you a message, I think at that point, I was like, somebody help me. Somebody talk me back down to this planet right now. But it was interesting because the couple of people sent messages to you guys were all busy, which is totally human and normal. Right. So it's like, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You've got yourself, Carrie, right?
Yeah.
You've got yourself and you can have this moment. And even in this discomfort, because it wasn't gone, right? Like I could calm myself a little, but it wasn't gone.
Yeah.
Even in this discomfort, I can shut my mind up, stop telling myself nasty things, take a deep fucking breath, put my big girl panties on and walk back in that room and make some more friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I did. I made some really incredible friends after that. Like really awesome people that I'm really looking forward to staying connected with.
That's amazing.
And phenomenal humans that are intellectually like mind blowing to me.
Awesome.
And then I got home And I did have a friend who thank goodness, Justin like called me and he talked me down off of a ledge from all of the fucking noise that was in my head going, you stupid, blah, 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 blah. Who the fuck do you think you are that could possibly be worthy enough to be in this room? How do you think you can help these people? You crazy woman, blah, 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 all that shit. And I'm saying this because we're all human. And I want you guys to hear that when we're in these moments, this is so fucking normal.
Yeah. And real,
real. Like when you watch either Jamie or I up level things in life, like know that this is what we have to go through.
Yeah.
And this is the feeling that happens. So in these moments, like, thank God I have my tools. And this is what both of us teach to our clients, to our groups, right?
Yep.
And I'm no surprise, you guys, we're going through wealth calibration right now. I'm halfway through teaching wealth calibration. Yeah. What is wealth calibration about? It is literally about how do we quantum leap into the identity, I'm getting the chills, into the identity of who we become in order to live our dreams. Yeah. I was literally in the room of my dreams.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't mimic that. You cannot theorize that. It has to be an embodied experience for your nervous system.
And I had to move through what I had to energetically and in my body. So like, this is a manifestation 101. We have to clear the channel of our body and our energetics, our emotions, our spirit, all of the inner blocks that are saying to us, you can't possibly be here.
Yeah.
And conditioning that says, no, this is not okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. In order to actually get into that room in the first place. And then the next piece is saying, and now this gets to be fucking normal. Yeah. So how do you make this normal in your body? Right. Yeah. So that's been my journey. Has been like, okay, now how do I lock this into my body and make this normal and not have my body go jacked up, crazy, want to fucking run out the door?
And this happens at every up level. Like, don't get the idea that like I did it once. Okay, now I'm good. No. I did it. And now I'm here. It's like every time you up level, every time you step into some expansion, there is an integration process that is terribly uncomfortable most of the time because it is revealing what you were unaware of yet. And it cannot be theoretical. I think this is the thing is all day long, you can imagine being in a room of wealthy people. It is not the same as being in a room full of wealthy people, and to give yourself the opportunity to step into the discomfort and allow your body, your being to calibrate until it feels normal is what it takes. You can't pretend this shit, you know?
No, you can't. And Craig even looked at me at some point and he was like, Carrie, in a year's time, this is just going to be your normal. This won't actually jack you up. And I'm like, But also, like, I also want to say here too, like, it's really beautiful to align with people who, when you're in that space, it doesn't matter what level of money they have, right? That they can look at you and go, yep, I get it. Because they've also been there.
Because I've been there.
They've also not been in a room that they were like, holy fuck, what am I doing here before?
Right.
Because they had to do it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Think about this on all the fronts. I mean, even like if you go into, I don't know, I think about people maybe stepping into one of our containers or something, right? They're like, oh my God, like, what are they going to make me do? How uncomfortable is that?
Right?
It's normal to feel that fear, and you've got to step into the discomfort of the container to face whatever it's revealing, like at each level. So we're talking about billions of dollars in this conversation, but even those of you that might feel uncomfortable stepping into wealth calibration, because like, what am I going to have to look at?
Right.
Like, I don't belong in that room. I'm not that evolved, or I'm not that healed, or I don't speak whatever your story is. It's like, that's actually like revealing the fastest pathway to the growth that you're looking for.
It is. Like, I think ultimately, truly, I mean, you and I both do it. Like, whatever I'm afraid of, whatever makes me feel the 100%. Most fear is generally speaking where I'm going to face.
That is why I'm living in an unfinished loft at the moment.
It is why I'm going through a strange and utter weird breakup, and also staying friends with him and staying in a community with him. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Because like the leaning in is the edge of like, that's not the normal thing to do. So how do we actually lean into? Because that's how we heal it.
Yeah.
Like, try something new, because these other things didn't work in the past.
Right. And the option is continue the cycle of that discomfort and that avoidance and that whatever.
But either way, it's uncomfortable, because if I were to stay, and you and I know this, right? And I want to say this to you guys to think about this, like really take a moment to sit in your body who's listening right now. And if you were to stay exactly where you are right now, and you look at your life in a year's time and you really feel into your body, does that feel comfortable in your body? It doesn't feel comfortable in mine.
No, me neither. Yeah.
Doesn't feel comfortable in mine. So the choice is get uncomfortable for a little bit here, so that I can have even more comfort in my body and more peace and more joy and more all of the things that I desire, because I'm in a higher alignment with myself. It's not that I'm not unhappy with my life right now. My life is really fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's that.
But is this where I'm prepared to exist
I
forever?
would just be stuck and stagnant here. It would not feel good for me to stay here forever.
Right.
And so the next piece, right, then we have to look at, like, is it worth, for you listening into this, is it worth moving through the discomfort that you're going to have to move through right now to step into being the person who actually creates their dreams and allows yourself to be in the room, to do the health things, to do the relationship things, to really face the stuff that you're not facing and make the shifts and changes, create the new habits so that you get to live in your dreams. Because it's not a matter of like one day it just shows up. It's a matter of small incremental choices and decisions to show up for yourself over time that puts you into, all of a sudden you're just standing there.
Yes. And I think this is that, like, goes back to that discussion of suffering too, is like to stay in the same familiar discomfort is like the definition of suffering, like to choose the pain over and over and over again versus choosing the unknown discomfort for the potential of something different. Yeah. It's like, that's growth or suffering. Which way do you want to treat the current discomfort? I know what I'm going to do over and over and over again. And I'm lucky that I've gotten the opportunity to see every single freaking time it's growth, it's ease, it opens into something. Never have I chosen to face the discomfort and then find myself in a worse, more painful, collapsed situation. Like it always leads to expansion and growth if I can see myself through the nervous system integration of something new.
Right. Yeah. All right. I know we want to keep this to a time. So do we have any, do you have any other last questions you want to ask me?
Just your final thoughts. Like, what is kind of your summarized takeaway from the amazing opportunity and experience to see what your nervous system was doing in your, like literally it's a reflection of your next level.
It is. And it's exciting. And I'm going to sit here on this podcast and really claim this, that like, if this is you and you know that you're wanting support from understanding what it's like to have a really successful life, like financially successful life, but not feel the pleasure, the joy, the love, the other things that you actually want because you're feeling empty and dead inside. Right. Even if you don't want to admit that to yourself right now, and start to say that you should probably admit that to yourself. I always say it's like, you look really successful on the outside, but you're really not so happy and you're a little bit miserable on the inside. I want to help you and support you. Yeah. That's number one. And I know that I'm really fucking good at it. And I know that I can help you. Yep. Number two, my overall take, there's a few overall takes, is one, have the fucking courage to go into the places, whether it's love, whether it's business, whether it's your health, have the fucking courage to go into the places that feel really uncomfortable. Yep. And to do things when you don't know. Like, I had no idea. I didn't even know we were staying. I got the Airbnb that day. I was like, okay, I'm just showing up, right? Yep. I'm just showing the fuck up. And that's it. That's what life is about. Show the fuck up, right?
100%.
And the other piece is, don't be attached to, this is the other part. Don't be attached to an outcome to it either. Right. Right. So it's this or something better. Like, this to me put me into a space that it's like, maybe something amazing will come out of this. Yeah. This room, these people, whatever. Or maybe this was just a launching pad for me to go, yeah, I'm totally worthy. And I had to go through this experience to 100%, realize.
Like an opportunity for your nervous system to experience
to adjust to this. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that in that, I've been offered, I will say this, and maybe this will be another conversation we should have another time, actually, has been offered a contract. I haven't talked to you about this yet, to work with them. Yeah. And there's some things in the contract that I'm like, I don't know if I'm in alignment with this. Yeah. And I think it's really fucking amazing when you can walk into a space that you go, this is amazing. And I thought this is my absolute fucking dream, but maybe it's not. Right. And to have the empowered decision and the empowered choice to look at things from a not dreamy carrot in front of you perspective that goes, oh my God, because this is the first thing that shows up and it's so amazing.
Yes. And I have to grab it,
hang
make
on to
it work.
It's got to be the be all end all. No, it's the first of who knows.
Same in relationships, by the way.
Right. Which is, this is the lesson, right? Right. Yeah. It's been through relationships that I've learned this. And finally I was like, wait a minute, the same thing in business. Yes. I don't have to. And I can look 100%. At this from a really fucking smart perspective. Yeah. And see those little red flags, those little 1 degree nuances that are like, that's not 100% right. And if it's not 100% right, I have the choice to say no. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Even though it looks so freaking shiny and beautiful from the outside.
Yeah. Fantasy can create a lot of illusion. Yeah.
Yep. And so I think in any opportunity that we have, and this can happen in investing, in love, in business, and all these different ways, where we get into shiny object territory and we don't listen to our nervous system and we don't pay attention to what our bodies are saying to us, then that's when we get ourselves into trouble. And so for me, it's like I had to come home and I had to be able to be like, how do I integrate this into my nervous system? How do I really feel about this? How do I look at this from a logical perspective, not just from the carrot daydream that's so possible.
The gambler, right? Like, yeah. I mean, like, that's how, at least for me personally, I've been through the situations where I have damn near lost everything because that shiny carrot that, looks exciting and not really being practical and listening to the deep wisdom that's available in all of it. So
yeah,
live and learn.
Live and learn, live and learn. And because we've talked about wealth calibration, I will say, you guys, I am 100% going to run this again. Okay, I'm not going to say 100%. Maybe I'm going to say 95% because it gives my manifestor ass a way out. But this manifestor ass, I think for the first time ever, is going to actually run a program again.
Nice.
Don't.
Nice.
I think she's going to actually run a program again.
Yes.
So if this is exciting to you, do reach out to me. Let me know. And then when I open doors, I'll let you know because this is truly, I'm so
and you've got access to my generator motor to like push it through. So
go. We're doing it again.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. I think that there's a lot of wisdom in all of that. So thank you for being, honest and vulnerable about what it's like to step into the unknown and what it takes to up level, like in all areas of life. Much love.
Next time.
Yes. And we will see you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this show, let us know. We're all about authentic connection. So come chat with us on social media or email. Links are listed in the show notes.
And please make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform and share the magic on your socials.